Good morning, and thank you for joining our learning community for 10 minutes to explore how we can support well-being within our teams. This morning, we return to the leadership support building block of well-being and an important theme, leading with well-being in mind. Those of you who've worked with me already know that collaborative leadership is something I care very deeply about. I'm grateful today to be able to share some of the reasons why. Collaborative leadership leverages the power of people and the things that they're passionate about, their perspectives, their possibilities, or the possibilities we have as a group, and partnerships, whether they're unlikely and non-traditional or with people we know. So in many ways, collaborative leadership is a force multiplier. Mother Teresa reminded us of the power of collaboration when she said, "I can do things you cannot. You can do things I cannot, and together we can do great things." But it's not enough to acknowledge we all have skills and talents. In a well-known quote, the baseball legend Babe Ruth warns us that the way a team plays as a whole determines success. You may have the greatest bunch of individual stars in the world, but if they don't play together, the club won't be worth a dime. Now, we are not competing as professional athletes, but the successes and wins that we must achieve together as healthcare teams go far beyond the hunt for a title or a trophy. In our complex and high-stakes professional world, no team is going to be successful if the only leader they have is a manager. Winning teams invest in creating a culture of collaborative leadership that welcomes, supports, and leverages their combined strengths. Oxford Leadership's definition of collaborative leadership is long, so I apologize, but I'm sharing it because it contains important ideas. Collaborative leadership, they say, is grounded in a belief that all of us together can be smarter, more creative, and more competent than any of us alone, especially when it comes to addressing the kinds of novel, complex, and multifaceted problems that organizations face today. It calls on leaders to use the power of influence rather than positional authority to engage and align people, focus their teams, sustain momentum, and perform. Success depends on creating an environment of trust, mutual respect, and shared aspiration in which all can contribute fully and openly to achieving collective goals. And leaders must focus on relationships as well as results. And the medium through which they operate is high-quality conversation. So how does collaboration support well-being? This has its roots in our evolutionary history and the fact that living in a collaborative group was essential for survival. The ability to collaborate to create a pro-social community made it possible to meet basic human needs such as safety, shelter, food, water, rest, relationships, reproduction, and the ability to adapt to the challenges in our environment. So these basic needs remain as true today as they were then millennia ago. And as humans, we are biologically programmed to monitor our environment, both for risks and also for signs that we are safe and supported. So what are the signs then that our work culture is collaborative and safe? We have a felt sense, and by felt sense, I mean that we know it in our bodies, of connection and community, a sense of shared identity in that community and belonging. We have a sense of caring, both for people and for the purpose of the people we work with, of communication that's open, transparent, and trustworthy, of curiosity that says that we're open to new ways of being and new ways of doing, of creativity that supports our ability to solution find and adapt as our world adapts, choices and therefore a shared sense of control, and then that sense of being able to contribute and that our contributions are welcomed and that we welcome diverse and numerous contributions ourselves. Collaborative leaders and teams create the conditions that support several key dimensions of well-being. These are safety, the space and opportunity to take care of basic needs such as food, hydration, and rest, social well-being, and the reduced stress that results from being in trusting relationships and knowing you have social support. Professional life satisfaction through work enjoyment, enhanced teamwork, and an enhanced sense of autonomy. And finally, the presence of opportunities for continued learning and growth. The challenge, though, is that even though collaboration is essential to our well-being individually and collectively, and in some ways it's programmed into our biology, supporting collaboration as a leader is a learned skill. Sometimes, as we've discussed in earlier sessions, our pro-social tendencies to nurture, care, help, or problem solve may actually get in the way of us becoming effective collaborative leaders. Another challenge is that some of our organizational structures or the traditional leadership structures may be barriers to true collaboration. Oxford Leadership produced a white paper on collaborative leadership that I recommend, and Meg is going to put the link to this resource in the chat. So they describe key shifts that collaborative leaders make as they move from what they call an individually focused, it's about me, leadership ecosystem, to a collaboratively focused, it's about us ecosystem. Collaborative leaders focus on influencing others, not controlling them. They invest in wide-ranging conversations and deep listening. They're flexible. While they respect individual skills and expertise and professions and even structures, they will seek opportunities to reach across divides and disciplines, align and adjust. They build and participate in partnerships, and they don't engage in turf battles. They're less invested in ownership and more invested in results. They believe that when we empower one, we empower all. That when leaders share power, our collective power to achieve the outcomes that we all care about increases. This connects also to a collaborative leader's belief in the importance of mutual support, sharing information and opportunities for development, and also mutual accountability. Above all, collaborative leaders know that the foundation of our success is people and the need to care about people always. And that brings us right back to well-being. Last year, Tate Shanafelt and colleagues from Stanford published a wellness-centered leadership model. And their model integrates core leadership skills from prominent philosophies such as authentic and transformational leadership, and the evidence about how leaders support clinician well-being and performance in healthcare. Caring about people always, they say, is the only reliable foundation on which to build relational skills that inspire individual and team performance. Without this relationship and this foundation, we are unable to inspire or lead any kind of change. So let's look at 10 important collaborative leadership practices. A collaborative leader connects with team members on a personal level. They're transparent and trustworthy. They listen with humility and curiosity. They welcome and respect and honor diverse perspectives and ideas. They encourage a sense of shared purpose and shared goals. And they suspend premature judgment. They explore their assumptions and beliefs and the assumptions and beliefs that they hear. They embrace ambiguity and not knowing. They create a climate that welcomes and supports discovery and the emergence of new ideas and practices. And as Linda Hall says, they focus on setting the stage, but not necessarily performing on it. So the final thought for today is that some of the ideas I shared may sound familiar to those of you who attended other talks in this series. And that's because collaborative leaders have learned to weave together many of the skills we have discussed in earlier sessions. And in doing so, they create a culture of collaboration that supports a healthy and positive work environment. And so that brings me to today's tips. Manager tip 31, remember that relationships are your greatest resource mobilizers in the work you do. And agenda tip number 35, make sure that you leave time on your agenda for conversations about how and why you're collaborating. It's so easy to fill up our agendas with to-do work and task lists, but the collaboration is what makes all of that possible. Next week, Dr. Sophia will be back with us to discuss the importance of celebration and taking time to acknowledge accomplishments in a healthy way. And as always, we invite you to use the resources at Healthy at Hopkins and the Office of Wellbeing. Thank you for joining us.